Có camera ở đây mà nó bộ bắt nhau vậy đó.
After watching the clip, I couldn't help but feel sympathy for these men. They love and care for their families, but they are unintentionally betrayed by the ones they trust the most. Their sincere love is trampled upon, leaving them with wounds that may never heal. Every time I see stories like this, I am reminded of my uncle, a kind man who always devoted all his love to his wife and children, yet he too had to endure the pain of betrayal. Uncle Lan has always been the man of the family, someone whom everyone in the neighborhood respects. He is not only the financial pillar, but also a friend and a father who takes care of every meal and educates his children with all his love. Every time he comes home from work, he brings a small gift for his wife and children, hoping to make their lives better. However, everything began to change when he felt a distance gradually forming between himself and Aunt Mai. She is a capable woman, but recently, Uncle noticed that she was often busier with work and less attentive to the family. Family dinners were no longer warm as before, and Aunt Mai's smile became increasingly rare. He tried to talk to her, but each time he opened his mouth, she only avoided eye contact, engrossed in her phone, or said she was busy. Then one day, when he got off work early, Uncle accidentally saw Aunt Mai talking to a strange man at a park near their home. They were laughing and joking, and Aunt Mai's eyes lit up as she listened to him speak. Uncle stood from afar, his heart racing, feeling as if someone had just stabbed him in the heart. His rational mind screamed that it was just a misunderstanding, but his intuition warned him that something was wrong. He tried to ignore it, telling himself that they could just be friends. But in the following nights, the suspicion grew larger, like an accumulating tidal wave. Uncle decided to follow Aunt Mai, knowing that it might shatter his heart. Once again, he saw her with that man, but this time it was not just simple conversations. They stood close to each other. Aunt Mai's smile had turned into gentle touches and intimate gestures that a wife should not have with another man. Uncle's heart seemed to stop beating. Anger, disappointment, and pain intertwined. Beautiful memories of the family. Every promise felt like shattered pieces in his mind. He could not believe that the woman he had loved and sacrificed so much for could betray him. After witnessing that scene, Uncle returned home in heart-wrenching pain. Aunt Mai had no idea that he knew everything. He sat on the sofa, his mind blank and heart heavy. Tears silently fell, and he felt the coldness of betrayal seeping into his heart. Finally, after many sleepless nights, Uncle decided to confront Aunt Mai. The words caught in his throat, but he knew he could not remain silent any longer. When she came home, he asked directly, why? A simple question, but one filled with endless sorrow. Her gaze grew timid, and in that moment, the whole truth was revealed. Aunt Mai, realizing that the question from Uncle Lan was not merely a matter of curiosity, but a deep-seated pain, fell silent for a long moment. Her face turned pale, and her eyes filled with tears, yet she struggled to find the right words to justify herself. Finally, she sighed, each word cutting into Uncle Lan's heart like a knife. I'm sorry, dear. I lost my way. In difficult times, I sought comfort from others. I never thought things would go this far. Those words felt like fire, tearing apart Uncle Lan's heart. He couldn't understand, couldn't accept it. Why? Why hadn't she told him? Why had she let it get this far? He had dedicated his life to building a home, and now everything felt like a sandcastle washed away by the waves. I have always loved you. I have always given everything for our family. But you betrayed me. What have you done with that love?" Uncle Lan cried out in anguish. Aunt Mai broke down in tears, stammering apologies, but Uncle Lan could not hear her. His mind was like a storm, swirling through past memories, the happy days they once shared. The pain was too great. He knew things could never return to how they once were. Though love still lingered, trust was lost. Days turned into months, and Uncle Lan struggled to live a normal life. Yet deep down, the pain remained constant. Their children were blissfully unaware of the dark secrets, still loving their mother and father as before. But Uncle Lan understood that every time he looked at Aunt Mai, he had to face that pain all over again. Uncle Lan decided to take time for himself, seeking what he had neglected over the years of nurturing his family. He started attending classes, meeting friends, and searching for joy in life. This not only helped alleviate his sorrow, but also allowed him to rebuild his self-esteem. As for Aunt Mai, after everything was revealed, she realized she had lost it all. She poured her efforts into mending the family, but Uncle Lan knew that nothing could return to the way it was. His love for her might still exist, but it had been scarred, no longer whole as it once was. Then one day, as Uncle Lan stood on the beach, the gentle sea breeze caressing his face, he realized that sometimes difficult decisions are necessary for healing wounds. He might not be able to return to the past, but he could move forward with a stronger heart. He chose to open himself up to the future. Although his love for Aunt Mai remained, he also learned that loving himself was the most important thing. He began rewriting his own story, no longer a victim of betrayal, but a man who rose from pain, finding the strength to continue. He chose to live, not to forget the past, but to create a new future. A future where he could love himself, love his children, and perhaps one day, love someone new with a heart unscarred.